What's going on, everybody? Wicked Wookie here. Drake Defense Con is wrapping up, and I wanted to go through and give you my honest feedback on all the ships that came out during the event. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so the Drake Pitbull. I actually really like this ship. Giant engines, lots of guns, and a seat. Very much the Drake blueprint. I have no notes on this. I think they did a fantastic job. It looks great. The audio's on it's great. Fighting people in Arena Commander is a lot of fun. It's really hard to hit, but it's also kind of hard to fly. You are just strapped to an engine, so it's very squirrely, which I do like that about it. Right now, I'm sure all of you know, ballistic cannons are a good way to go at the moment. So I just strapped some tarantulas to it. Man, you just let this sucker eat. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I have no complaints about this ship, so good job, CIG. 10 out of 10. Okay, so now the M80 from Origin. Man, at first I did not care for this ship, but after flying it a little bit and doing some bounty runs in it and some PvP, I really enjoy this ship. It's a great little ship. I actually like this as a heavy fighter a lot better than the F8 Lightning. I've melted my Lightning a long time ago, and I've yet to see a reason to pull that thing back out. My Hornet's just superior. But for a heavy fighter, man, I like the M80 a lot. It looks great. Everything functions on it as it should. It's very fast. It's got its own style of combat where you're kind of encouraged to do jousting. Shoot your target, boost away, turn around, come back, do another run. If you do get hit with ballistics, you know, you're going to be cooked, as the kids say. So yeah, but on a 1 out of 10 scale, I'm going to give this an 8. It looks great. Everything works like it should, but it doesn't look like Origin. This looks like it belongs more with Kruger than it does an Origin ship. So, not that it's a bad thing. It just doesn't fit the brand, and there's no DNA in it, with the exception of, like, the top little spoiler to an 85X. But still, good job, CIG. Okay, so now the Mist Starlight. This is an entry-level refueling ship, and I actually like this a lot better than I thought I would. When I first seen it, I went, man, that is too cutesy for my blood, and it still kind of is. I would rather have a refueling ship that looked more mean, I guess, but it does look like Mist. When you look at it, you go, yeah, that's a Mist ship, no question about it. It does what it's supposed to do. It goes, it refuels. You don't have to get out of your seat to do the game loop, which I really enjoy. That's why I like doing combat. I don't like getting out of my seat. This, you never have to leave the seat of your ship. You just keep on trucking. Now, the down part of it is that the fuel tanks don't hold enough fuel. I feel like even if you go buy the aftermarket ones, that's still not enough. These need to hold like 3 to 4 times what they're holding to kind of make the game loop enjoyable. Now, there's probably some balancing they got to do with fuel, I would assume, since we got ships that hold more fuel than ships are big, but that's, I hope they figure that out. But CIG, you can make, if you make this thing where you can do like, I don't know, I would like to see like 8, 10 refueling missions for you got to go refill. I feel like that'd be a good spot. But yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot of complaints or notes on this ship. It looks like Mist, does what it's supposed to do. I haven't really run into any bugs. I like the animations of the clamps for the fuel pods. So I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. The design's great, the sound's great on it, everything does what it's supposed to do, but I'm going to take 2 points away just because having to go refuel your refuel ship after like 2 missions is kind of annoying. So yeah, other than that, you know, good job. Okay, so the Drake Ironclad, the base model, holds over 2,000 SCU of cargo. Great looking ship. It's like a baby Kraken, I would assume. Lots of character. I love when a ship has lots of personality and character and feels like you could have a movie or TV show filmed out of it. And this is like the Caterpillar, where you could definitely see a Caterpillar being the backdrop for a show. Same thing with this thing. Lots of character to this. This ship feels like it tells a story or has stories to be told. Beautifully done. They just knocked it out of the park with every bit of the design on this. The top launching torpedoes, the catwalks on top. I mean, I don't really have any complaints about the way this ship looks or functions, but let me put a pin in that. Now, of course, the issue we've all had is that module popping off every time you go into QT. I really, really, really hope they got a fix for this soon, because that makes it pretty much useless if you have to keep redocking it. Also, it murdered me the other day because I was in the middle of a turn and then it de-docked while I was in the middle of a turn, and all manner of terrible things happened, and everything exploded. They got to fix that though. Now, I had planned on upgrading my Hull B to the Ironclad, and as of right now, I am not going to do that just because of the bugs that it has. I feel like it's not worth the trouble of having to fight this, and I haven't seen anything about anything coming out to fix that de-docking thing. So maybe I'll get an upgrade, little upgrade token, so that if they do get that resolved, then I'll switch over. But until then, I'm going to stay in my Hull B. So due to the fact that it's almost impossible to fly right now reliably, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, so the Drake Ironclad Assault, I feel like, is misnamed. I feel like this is more the Ironclad Defense. Now, the main differences being that you can repair ships from this, and you can get bigger ground vehicles through the front door, like tanks and ballistas. That's good. And I do feel like that is worth the $50 difference from the base model to this. You get a lot more guns. You get the quad 3s, you get the bottom extra 2 5s added to it. You do lose all your tractor beams, but I do feel like that's worth $50 on paper. In practice, I feel like having all these guns honestly doesn't make a difference. You're better off just to have a buddy in a medium fighter flying with you. I feel like this ship kind of gives the impression that it's a one-stop shop for everything, that you can go into battle with this ship alone, but in reality, if you don't have support fighters with you, you might be tanky, but you're not assaulting anything. You're not going to be able to take anything away from anybody. If you show up to Hathor in this thing with no fighters with you, you might can take some hits, maybe drop off some ground vehicles. Nobody's going to do that, but it's not really an assault vehicle to me. It's more of a defense vehicle. So that kind of brings me to, I feel like the two ships should have just been one. They should have been one ship that holds all the ground vehicles, and I would have said there should have been a module for the repair bay. Either you have the cargo module or you got the repair bay module, and swap them in and out as you need to. I think that would have been a lot better, and still give it all the guns and just have one ship with a couple modules. So I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I like the way the ship looks. I like most things about it, especially visually, all the character of it, but I really think these should have been one ship with modules. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Okay, so the Aegis Tiburon. So this ship kind of has me split. The 12-year-old in me thinks that the shark look is badass. The 41-year-old in me says that's dumb and immature. Why would they do that? It kind of reminds me of the little Hot Wheels shark back in the day that was literally like a shark with wheels on it. This is the spaceship equivalent of that. I know a lot of people who like it, and I know a lot of people who hate it. Me, I've landed on, I'm not a fan of it. So overall, let's talk about the way that it looks. Like the whole of it, like the making it curved, I think that looks great. I like the material that they kind of put on it. The guns, I like the guns, the bespoke ballistic guns. I think the back two sit out, visually, it looks like they sit out too far. It makes it look off balance to me. The middle fin, I'm fine with. The other fins on the back engines, I feel like that was too much. So there's some angles of it that, like, if you look at it head on, it's like, man, this thing is badass looking. But then there's other angles that I look at it, I'm gonna go, man, this is real dumb looking. I'm very torn on it. It kind of just depends on like which way that I'm looking at it, if I like it or not. But now the laser. Let's talk about the laser. A lot of firepower, more than the Idris, but not as far away. I think the Idris can do like 4 kilometers. This thing, you need to be 2 and below, and you're only getting 100% of power on target at like 1 kilometer and below. So you definitely got to be a lot closer. Now, what I think is you don't need pilots running around just nimbly bimbly lasering everything, you know, to their heart's content. There's got to be consequences for it. The only thing I can think of that's easy is some kind of engineering gameplay where, okay, the pilot can get off a few shots, but then if you don't have an engineer to manage the heat load, they got to have a really long cooldown before they can fire that laser again. if it was me designing the game, I would have heat sinks that are physically there, so when that laser fires off, you got these containers that build up heat until eventually they got to be jettisoned from the ship, and somebody with a tractor beam's got to tractor beam new heat sinks into the little ammo pool until those heat up, and then you kind of just rinse and repeat. I think that'd be awesome gameplay for lasers. No idea how they could implement that, but I think it'd be really cool and kind of help with the pilot has a lot of power by themselves issue. Okay, so for the ranking, this just made up numbers, but it looks like Aegis. It does what it's supposed to do. It doesn't have any crazy bugs, with the exception of Arena Commander, but we'll overlook that. We're more focused on the PU. You know the ship manufacturer. The sounds in this thing are amazing. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I'm only taking all 3 points just because I would have liked to have seen less Shark, but that's more of a me thing. So yeah, actually kind of surprised I gave it that high of a score. Okay, so the Anvil Odin, man, this thing is a bad mammer jammer. A lot of guns, a lot of hideaway guns, big ballistic guns, all things that I like. I don't like how high the tower is. To me, that kind of makes it look goofy being that tall. I think they need to chop that top down. Even if you can't see the whole ship from up there, man, you just need to chop the top, make that sucker a lowrider or something. But other than that, I think it looks amazing. No idea how well the game's going to run when people solo this thing around. Also have no idea what you're supposed to fight in the darn thing. I guess Vandal stuff. And then we come back to the giant laser. I hope there's some kind of gameplay in the game by then to mitigate just pilot with giant laser power like the heat sinks we mentioned earlier. But yeah, other than that, visually, I think it's really cool. I have no idea how well the game's going to run when it's in there, but I mean, I look forward to seeing it. I mean, who doesn't want to see a gigantic space battleship? I would have loved to have gotten one for myself because, you know, I like big, new, shiny thing, but the bank wouldn't let me take out a loan. Couldn't quite write that off as a business expense. Go figure. All right, everybody. So, as I always say, don't fly what I like or somebody else likes or your buddy or a YouTuber likes. Fly what you like. Spend your money on what you want to spend your money on. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Is a good ship a bad ship? If you like it and you got the money for it, knock yourself out. That's all that really matters. Do you want to support the project? Can your wallet handle it? Does the ship fill you with joy? If it meets that criteria, then get it. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Alright, and today's video is sponsored by Be Well Honey, actually a local bee farm in my home state of South Carolina. Their honey is 100% raw honey made from real bees, not whole bees like the spaceships, but actual bees in nature. But I actually did this ad spot for just a jar of their honey. It's that good. And they do ship globally. So go check them out. Tell them Scooter sent you. And as always, I appreciate you. Y'all have a good one.